today I want to discuss The Lion King. Now I know this movie came out a while back, but I finally watched it, and I know there have been movie reviews on it, but you ain't seen mine, okay? So I was able to watch it, pause it, take voice notes. So that being said, this review is going to be a little more structured. I'm going to talk from the beginning of the movie all the way to the end of the movie. Hopefully it's not going to be super long. So if you want to see what I thought of the live action remake of The Lion King, keep watching. But before I get into the review, don't forget to hit that like button and hit subscribe for more videos like this. In a previous video, I mentioned I watched the Lion King trailer, and I wasn't impressed with the voice of Scar. Now that's nothing against Chiwetel Ejiofor, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But there's nothing against him. I like him as an actor, but he just did not have that brute, gruff sound that I relate to a villain. Like someone like Idris Elba, oh, I would have loved to have had his voice as Scar. Now, I have obviously watched the movie. Do I still think that about the voice of Scar? We'll see. The opening sequence. Now, this was beautiful. The animals looked exactly like they should have. Obviously, once we get into the movement, the action of the story with the lines, we can see that okay, yeah, these are animated creatures, but a lot of them in the whole beginning sequence before we get to that point looks very realistic. I mean, they did a fantastic job. Now, the Circle of Life. They did change that song up just a little bit, but I was okay with the change. Like, it's my... like, yes, Stacy said it was okay, so it's okay. But no, it was okay. They didn't go over the top or anything with it. It was real nice, the change. Then the scene right after that with the mouse. You could have swore you were watching like National Geographic. I was waiting for a narrator to come in and start talking about the little field mouse. That's how great they were able to do that animation. It looks so lifelike. Then we transition into seeing Scar for the first time. Now this is the first time I've seen him since the trailer, and to be honest, I'm still not impressed with him at this moment in time. His voice is okay. Again, it's not coming across as evil, but I figured out what it is. The whole first little interactions we get with Scar, you have to completely forget that you've seen the cartoon, okay? You have to enter in this movie as if it's a new one and you know absolutely nothing. You don't know Scar is evil, and if you're looking at this movie from the first time, so obviously you're not expecting evil tones from him yet. And so when it comes in later, when he starts becoming evil to me, it makes sense. And that's what I'm saying. You kind of have to step back and be like, look, you're not supposed to know he's evil, okay? So I can understand why I'm not getting that evil vibe in the beginning, because again, I don't want to compare the cartoon and the live action, but with the live action, Scar isn't necessarily established as an evil character. He's not aligned with the hyenas until later in the movie. It's not like they're buddy-buddy. Whereas in the cartoon, he's friends with them for the sake of, you know, what they can do for him type of thing. And the hyenas are kind of dumb to it and think they're his friends. And what he can do for them as well. But, you know, he's obviously above their level. So in the cartoon, that's established from the beginning, whereas in the live action, he eventually forms the bond with the hyenas, and that's when you start seeing the evilness come through. And like I said, once we get into that aspect of the film, that's when Scar does really start getting good for me. Now, back to the intro scene with Scar and Zazu. Zazu. I like John Oliver. We'll get to the good parts. I like John Oliver as Zazu. I do. I liked Rowan as Zazu, but if they had to find somebody a second close, John Oliver was perfect for the role. Now, visually, I wish Zazu would have been more blue. If you'll look at the photo I'm inserting, Zazu in the cartoon, of course, is a cartoon, but in the live action, I know they're trying to be more realistic and get away from the cartoony aspect, but I just wish he would have had a little more blue. He's got the blue around his eyes, but his feathers, I wish I would have had a little more blue in it, and not like, it didn't have to necessarily be a bright blue or anything, but his feathers more often appear more gray than blue. So it's just a personal thing. Just personal preference here. Now in the scene with Zazu and Scar, when Scar's chasing him, John Oliver, like I said, I love him as the voice of Zazu. He is over the top, he is loud, he is spacey, he is frantic. He's perfect for Zazu. And in that scene, I can hear the franticness. I can envision, you know, if he was a bird flapping around, I can hear all the emotion he's bringing to Zazu. But visually, I'm just not seeing it on scene, you know, on screen. And that's nothing against the animation. It's just, it's a hard balance, because with a live action, you want to be more realistic to the actual animal that it's being portrayed on screen. So you can't be as animated visually with the expressions like you can with a cartoon. Like in a cartoon, they can be overly expressive because it's a cartoon. But with a live action, they're trying to maintain that realism of this animal, so they can't be overly, you know, drastic with the facial expressions in these animals. Otherwise, we're going to knock it back down into a cartoony level. So it was just if John Oliver's energy level was up here, the animation energy level was here, and they just didn't sync up. So visually, I'm hearing his intensity up here, but the scene is like right here. I'm not seeing the same level. So it just didn't sync up well together for me personally. But again, it could just, I was trying to get used to the animation style, and because later, you know, later it's all fine. I had no other issues. It was just the first like 10 minutes of the movie, I guess maybe I just had to get used to it, because really that's where I had the issues is in that scene. To piggyback off of that, what I mean is eventually, you know, we get to the scene where Simba is talking with Scar and telling Scar, you know, that when I'm king, you're gonna have to take orders from me. And it's that moment precisely when they start using the slow zoom, because Simba is sitting here and Scar is behind him, and they do that slow zoom into Scar, and that's when they start animating and it narrowing his eyes, and then they bring in that eerie music. And sorry if I'm shouting. And they bring in the eerie music and all these elements combined. It was that moment I was like, ooh, okay, I might have a different opinion of Scar now. Alright. So, again, it just took maybe a little getting used to, because, like I said, once that scene came in, I was like, okay, we're getting somewhere. Be prepared. I wasn't prepared, because when I hadn't seen any other movie reviews of The Lion King that I can recall, but when it came out, I thought I read somewhere that Be Prepared got cut entirely, and I was devastated, because I love Be Prepared. I love Jeremy Irons, not to compare it to the cartoon, but I loved it. And so I was not prepared when I heard Be Prepared, and I said, what? It's in here? Now, granted, it is a very short version of Be Prepared. I really wish they would have lengthened it and made it a little longer. I understand why they didn't animate certain scenes the way they did in the cartoon, but you could have drawn a different animation and had the song just as long. You know, why? But again, I enjoyed it. I did, and with that song coming in, it was more of one of those talk songs. I don't know the actual name for it, but where they're not really singing, it's more talk than singing. So talk song is how I'm going to refer to it from now on. But it was more of that, but I still appreciate it. I liked it, and again, it really started, hearing Be Prepared, I was like, yes. Okay, I'm getting more into Scar now. I'm digging him a little more as the movie's progressing. On the subject of talk songs, Hakuna Matata. I know there's a part, you know, Pumbaa's part, where he's explaining his little backstory. That is supposed to be a talk song, but the rest of Hakuna Matata is supposed to be sung. Why is the only person singing Hakuna Matata the kid actor, J.D. McCary? Name, please. Why is he the only one singing the song? And I know Billy Eichner. Why can I not say these names when I'm trying to pronounce them in the spot? I don't. If I think about their names, I can't pronounce them. But if I don't think about it, I can say it. Billy Eichner. I know he has musical capabilities, and I thought maybe Seth Rogen is the reason it was more of a talk song, because maybe he didn't have musical capabilities and they were just accommodating the song. But in the next breath, when they're singing The Lion Sleeps Tonight, in the jungle and all that, yeah, when the lion sleeps tonight. Why do I not know these songs? Why do you keep saying when the lion sleeps tonight? They're singing that song, and I'm like, why are you singing this but you didn't sing Hakuna Matata? Why? So, Hakuna Matata just was not there for me. I don't know. It was just lacking. When Rafiki learns that Simba is alive, that drug on a little long. It was beautiful animation, no doubt, but it was just a little long. I remember in the cartoon, it was just the hair floated in the wind and Rafiki found it. In the movie, I mean, I understand the symbolism and everything behind it, but
it was the bird found it, and then the bird used his nest, it fell, and the giraffe ate it, and then the giraffe pooped it, and then a beetle found the poop, and it fell, and then it got in the river, and then it went through the river, and then it found into the wind, and then Rafiki found it. That was a long journey, you know?
The live action does give us a little more closure for Simba and Mufasa. I could be wrong on this point. It's been a while since I watched the cartoon, so the cartoon very well could have had this aspect. It's just I don't remember. But I believe the live action gave a little more closure, because what I can remember in the cartoon is the Mufasa starts fading out into the clouds and Simba's running along like, no, don't leave, and then he just fades away. And in the live action, he more or less tells him, you know, oh, I'm not gone, you know, I'll always be with you type of thing. Also, Rafiki, not much speaking lines in the live action. Like, he didn't really have many speaking in the cartoon, but he definitely doesn't have much speaking part in the live action. There's a few little differences with him, his staff and the little, it's not coconuts, but whatever it is. There's little differences in the way he makes Simba's face. He uses the juice from whatever fruit that was. In the live action, it's bugs that help him make it. There's little differences here and there. Also, speaking of differences, Scar. Like I said earlier, in the cartoon, he's aligned with the hyenas from early in the movie. Whereas in the live action, he eventually aligns himself with them. And speaking of the hyenas are different as well. They're still your three main ones, but for some reason the two boys went through a name change. I don't remember the names in the cartoon except for Ed. I don't remember the other one's name, but Ed changed to Azizi, I believe is his name in the new one. And then the other male hyena changed to Kamari. Shinzi stayed the same. Now, the difference with the hyenas is in the cartoon, Shinzi, where she was the leader of the pack of hyenas, she did have a more humorous side, whereas in the live action, she is cutthroat, take no names. She is all business in the live action. But we still have the comedic effect with Keegan-Michael Key and Eric Andre. Yeah, I was making sure that was his name. We have that great dynamic with these two, and they bring such a wonderful comedic timing. And also, in the cartoon, Ed, just laughed manically. He was that hyena. In the live action, Eric Andre brings a voice to him, and he's more, he doesn't know personal space. He knows no boundaries. He's always in Keegan-Michael Key's space, and so there's just this little humor that goes between those two characters. Unfortunately, Florence Kasumba, I believe that's how you say her name, she didn't really get much, you know, comedic line. She's just, like I said, she's definitely more business. Timon and Pumbaa, overall I enjoyed Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner's version of these two characters. Now, there are moments that I was like, I wish could have been a little different. Like, again, Nathan Lane, love him, the original. But the part where Pumbaa is supposed to be a distraction, again, I understand they want to update the scene for today's time. So, I just really wish, I believe they could have came up with a more original line than "Be Our Guest." Now, granted, the line is funny. I get it. It is humorous. They're hyenas. Pumbaa is a warthog. He's got the apple in his mouth. They eat warthogs, and, you know, "Be Our Guest" is part of Disney, you know, all of that. I get it. It is a funny line. It is an easy laugh, but I just wish it would have been something more original there. That's just me personally. Now, I'm not saying the line isn't funny, because it is. I just would have liked a more original line there. Now, the next thing that I'm going to talk about is kind of, I probably shouldn't talk about it, but I am. And it's the scene where Pumbaa stands up for himself. While the message is fantastic and it is wonderful, it is definitely applicable to today's times, there's just something about the scene that was lacking for me. I'm just not, it's not 100% for me. I don't know if it's because they lowered the music to try to make that message more impactful or what, but it just, something about the scene just doesn't sound right. And I don't know if it's because Seth Rogen says bully like 5,000 times in this scene. I don't know. Just something doesn't work about it. But, and I hate that, because it is a very good message. And it's the scene, you know, where he's standing up for himself and telling the hyenas that they're bullies and he's not going to tolerate bullies and he's going to stand up to the bullies. And he just keeps saying bullies over and over and over. And again, I understand it is a very good message, but there was just something about it that just didn't 100% work for me. And again, I don't know what it was, because they did lower the music at that point, and I don't know if it was, again, to make that more impactful or what, I don't know, but it just, there was something about that scene. And then at the end, while we're on Timon and Pumbaa, did they give Pumbaa a kid at the end? Because I do not recall that in the cartoon. Maybe I'm missing that again. I don't know. But I seen a little warthog run out and I was like, what? Wait a minute, let me rewind this. My last note is about Beyonce as Nala. Overall, she was fine. I do not recall in the cartoon though. Like, now I know I understand Nala is going to be the future queen, but I just don't recall Nala having so many, not so many, but such authority, I guess is the right word here. Like, I thought Sarabi was the one that told the lions to attack, the lioness to attack and everything. Whereas in the live action, was it because they were trying to give more speaking lines to Beyonce, that they gave her, told her, you know, you tell the lioness to attack, you do this, you do that, you know, and her standing up to Sarabi, and I'm like, look now, cub, back off. But, again, I don't know. It could have very well happened in the cartoon. It's just, it's been some time since I watched the cartoon, okay? But then, of course, we go through the end of the movie, dealing with Scar, and bringing up Scar. Did my opinion of him change? Yes. I don't know why that was over dramatic. I was trying to fix my hair without touching my hair, and that's why I went like that, so I should have just touched the hair and been done with it. But yeah, my opinion of Scar did change. I ended up liking, okay, he's not, I still love Jeremy Irons' portrayal of Scar. And I know that's crazy, but I do. I just like the voice. Now, like I said, if like someone like Idris Elba would have done the voice, that gruff, brute, you know, kind of scratchy, oh yeah, I would have loved that. But, you know, Chiwetel Ejiofor, he was fine. As, like I said, that music started coming in, the eerie music and the zooms and all those elements started coming into play, yes, I started definitely get that more evil vibe, and I did warm up to him and enjoy his Scar. It wasn't as awful as I thought it was going to be, because from the trailer, I just thought it was going to be an awful Scar. But after having watched it, my opinion did change. I did end up appreciating him. He's not my favorite, but I did like him. Now, also at the end, I saw it was directed by Jon Favreau. I don't usually bring up directors, but if you don't know Jon Favreau, he's directed many things before, and he's done the Iron Man movies. He starred in some Marvel movies. Love Jon Favreau. Did not realize he'd done this one. Donald Glover did fantastic job of Simba. Again, Billy Eichner and Seth Rogen, love their portrayals. Keegan-Michael Key, Eric Andre did fantastic with the hyenas. I enjoyed everybody. Now, overall, I enjoyed this film. It was very well animated. The soundtracks, for the most part, I appreciated. I had issues with Hakuna Matata a little bit, but you know, I digress. But overall, it is a very enjoyable film. There's not too many differences to make note of, just here and there, and that's if you're being nitpicky. But if you hadn't watched it already, give it a shot. I see no reason why you shouldn't. If you like the video, give this video a like up. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up. And leave a comment down below. What did you think about The Lion King? Till next time, I'll see you guys. Don't forget to subscribe for more. And hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Bye. Ow! Mamma mia!